Project Ultralight is right here. And you guys might be looking at this and think, Mike, you already started building this bike up. You didn't even show us any of that stuff. Well, it turns out that I actually recorded the entire thing, got it fully assembled, and then somehow lost all the footage for it. I was completely devastated, but I didn't want you guys to miss out. So I took the whole thing apart to the point that I could, and I want to show you guys how this thing goes together. This is probably not going to be as detailed as my original video, but I think you guys are going to enjoy this. So if you have some sympathy for me and you're enjoying this series and my channel, hit that like button. It really, really would help me out. And also, if you haven't already, go ahead and just click the subscribe button. It's totally free. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get Project Ultralight built up because this bike is going to be insanely light and hopefully really fast. Let's go. Okay, first up, I want to go over all the things that are actually already done on this bike because I already did them once. First up, I want to talk about this bottom bracket here. This is a press fit bottom bracket and you need a specific tool to be able to install it. And that's this tool. It'll actually press in the bearings on both sides of the bottom bracket. I wound up using a SRAM dub bottom bracket that will work well with the dub crankset that I got. I had to put a 2mm shim on the outside over here to make sure that it fit really well. And oh yeah, you may see this. This is a chain guide that actually came with the light carbon frame. I think this thing looks really slick. I also installed this really cool chainstay protector. It kind of reminds me of the VHS chainstay protector, if you guys have ever seen one of those. These things are like little pockets of air. So it just basically stuck on there. This also came with the light carbon frame. And as you guys can see here, I already installed the XT flat mount caliper. It was super easy to install. And this little tab right here pulls out so you can easily route the hose through. And it came with little kind of plastic cables almost that you could tape this to and pull it all the way through the frame. So actually pulling this hose through was extremely easy. Really nice touch added by Light Carbon. They didn't have to add those, but they did, and it made that job super easy. And also over here, I installed the UDH rear derailleur. Very, very easy if you've never installed one of these. You just basically pop the derailleur on, thread on the bolt on this side, tighten it down to 25 Newton meters. I installed the seat post. I do need to torque this down so it doesn't move. And I also installed the 3D printed seat. Up next, you can see that I've got the headset partially installed. It's got bearings top and bottom. I just applied a little bit of grease to it so it would slide around easy in the frame if it needed to, but I couldn't take the handlebars off because I do have the hydraulic hose attached with the olive right here, and I didn't want to have to reroute the internal routing. So I just have one hydraulic hose that I'm running, so I just ran it right through here, but if I had a dropper post, I could run it through here. This is gonna make it look super minimal. Whenever you install the headset, you get a couple through Light Carbon, but this one is the one that I chose to go with. And it's got a single opening on this headset. It comes with this metal piece right here that's gonna fit in there right on top of the bearing. And then this piece is gonna go on top of that to kind of seal that top up. And then you've got some 10mm and 5mm spacers. And then the handlebars will just sit right on top there. So I already cut this fork to length and I installed the star nut that you're seeing on top here. If you've never installed a star nut on a fork, it's really, really easy. You just need a specialty tool like this. Comes with this other piece here. You'll thread the star nut on, you'll run it right through here, and then this will pop up like that. And then you just slide this over your fork and it centers the star nut and you hit this part with a hammer. Couple of times, it'll sink it down in there. Super easy to use. Now on the fork, I did have to install a crown race, but it came with a split ring crown race. Just came with the Light Carbon stuff. I was really happy to see that they included that. And then you've got the bearing right here. I added a little bit of grease to keep everything nice and smooth. Now with internal routing, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but we'll get this to work. Go. Now we can just add our spacers, and then now we can just install the handlebars. Now we can install our top cap. Next up, check this out. It's got a spot for a Garmin mount or a bike computer mount right on the handlebars. This is cool. All right, let's go ahead and put the rear brake back on. Super easy to do. The olive looked just fine, so should be able to use that. I decided to switch it up. Instead of going with foam grips, I'm going with these one lock-on grips in the SRAM pod. Not my favorite ergonomic style shifter. It's not ergonomic at all, but it is pretty slick. And it doesn't get much cleaner than no dropper post and just brakes and a wireless shifter. Next up, we'll install the SRAM Axis GX rear derailleur. These are so easy to install. Literally just pop it on the derailleur hanger. All right, next up is the SRAM bottom bracket. Now this is a dub bottom bracket, and if you've looked at any reels on Instagram, you'll see people struggle removing dub bottom brackets. It requires 54 Newton meters of torque. I don't have a torque wrench that can go that high, so I'm just gonna like tighten it down like I do all cranksets. But what's really cool about this is that it has this pre-adjustment knob right here. So you can basically thread this all the way back in to the crank arm. And it's got a 2mm Allen key up here that tightens it down. Whenever we push this through, we're gonna put this end on, and then we're going to tighten it down. Then we'll tap the drive side over, and then we'll tighten this down. This is kind of common nowadays, but I haven't installed too many of these on other bikes, but I really do like this setup. So this is non-drive side. We're gonna go ahead and put that on. Just pop it through. Now, whenever you do this, you will need to make sure that you have the proper spacers in. I have a 2mm spacer on this side, so I get the proper chain line, and it fits right. So just pop right through. Now, whenever you do this, there are blue seals actually in here that you're gonna wanna make sure that they don't pop out. And this is an awesome Feedback Sports 8mm. Works perfect for this and for certain pedals. But we'll just put it on here and start tightening it down. Now, once you have that tightened in there, you're supposed to tap this, basically pushing this side all the way over. Then we can tighten down this adjustment knob back here. Just spin it back towards you whenever you're in the back of the bike. Looks good. Now we take a 2mm Allen key and we tighten this down. All right, let's go ahead and install the fun MTB pedals. These things are slick looking, all black design. All right, guys, next up are the wheels, and I want to talk about these a little bit. Yes, I have already ridden this bike around my yard, and then I fully disassembled it for this video, as you guys know, but I already did the full install on these. This back wheel does have the Vittoria tire inserts. As you can see right here, I'm putting them into the actual bike. Then I installed the 160mm rotor for the back. I wish I could have had a 160 up front, because this light bike doesn't require huge rotors to stop. And honestly, I weigh about 185 pounds. 160 rotors can stop me just fine. So I did put the Mezcal tire in the back and the Barzo up front. And that seemed to be what the internet really recommended. If you guys run them the other way, let me know. Couldn't find anything on Vittoria's website saying which one I should run the front, which one I should run the back. But everything online seemed to point towards a Mezcal is great in the back and a Barzo is great up front. So that's what I did. Let's go ahead. Let's get the back tire installed. I did put about 7 ounces of sealant in here because this tire did have a little bit of a trouble sealing up, but I think it was the rim tape and it wasn't the tire. So and I do want to point out that the thread pitch is correct on this UDH rear derailleur. I've heard some people say that they've received rear derailleurs from companies of Chinese manufactured frames where they have a 1.5 pitch. This has a 1.0 pitch, which is the SRAM standard. So really happy to see that they're following those guidelines whenever they're doing their UDH rear derailleurs. All right, got the Barzo up front with the 180 mil rotor. Let's go ahead, get it installed. Last thing to install is this awesome chain. This thing looks super, super cool. I love the all black design and the hollow pins and the cutouts in each link. Just hope this thing is durable. Now, I did use the SRAM app to calculate exactly how long of a chain I needed, and it said 116 links. So that's what I've got this set to. And when I had this thing already fully assembled and I rode it through the yard, it seemed to do pretty good. I do need to do some minor adjustments, probably some very, very small adjustments to the rear derailleur just to make sure that it's shifting properly. But we'll get to that later. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get the chain installed. A little bit of brake rub on the other side, but we can fix that. All right, guys, Project Ultralight is fully built. I think I got all the parts put back on this, and now it's ready to go officially ride out on the trail. And oh yeah, I forgot. We need to weigh this bike because we need to figure out what the official weight is on Project Ultralight. Let's get out the feedback scale and get this sucker weighed. Let's get the scale on here. Right. Turn on. So light. Let's just see what this thing weighs. There you go, 21 pounds, 11 ounces. This bike is bonkers light. Coming in right around 3 pounds less than my superior issue R, but 21 pounds, 11 ounces is the lightest mountain bike I have ever been on. So I'm super excited to take this out to the trail. I hope you guys are too. And if you are, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit that bell button so you don't miss my next episode. But as always, guys, get out there and ride your bike.